Have you ever wondered how many things are that we couldn't even imagine they exist? It's good to be skeptical. There are mysteries which anyone can't explain. I think we should investigate more. When it comes to paranormal activity, it seems that many of them you can explain down to earth. But there is always stories that make us to question perception of the universe. Some case like that activated in Indiana, and it was really good documented. All media in America was talking about that. They called this case House of 200 Demons. Can this case question your perception of reality? Is there a hidden world which shouldn't be mixed with ours? Or this whole case is a scam? You can judge on your own. The house was normal as any other house. After stories of this family, that isn't the case. As the story continues, weird things start to happen. This story is very unusual. Even the police started the investigation. They wanted to see if there is any need of mental health in this family. Even the social service for child protection investigated this case. The most unusual thing, after visiting this house, some of policemen testified that there is some kind of demon activity. After interview with kids, one of them started to act very bizarre. As they say, he started to go backwards and started climbing against the wall. He jumped over his grandma and he was very aggressive. One nurse and one social worker saw the whole thing. They fainted outside immediately. I will look through this story objectively, just to see is this truth or not. As I investigated this case, I had more and more questions. Is this case a real one? This story is real, and many people are trying to explain it. Family moves in this house. That's time of first contact with paranormal activity. Big black flies in large numbers are attacking their house. Grandma remembered how they couldn't drive them away. They kept coming back. Then even more bizarre things started to happen. After midnight, they could hear weird noises around the house. Every time they looked, no one was there. Comes to more bizarre problems. At some time after midnight, family didn't sleep because of that case. Family was in the house, and some of their friends was too. Mother started to scream. Her son was levitating above sleeping bed. This thing saw whole family and their friends. They surrounded the boy and they started to pray. Then boy started to go down on bed and he woke up. He didn't remember a thing. Interesting thing was that people despite of family was seeing that things too. Family didn't have any solution except asking church for help. Churches usually don't answer to cases like this because in the most of cases it turns out to be mental problems. We need further investigation. One church gave them advice that they should clean house with ammonia and that they should draw crosses at every opening on house, windows and doors. They contacted psychics too. Psychics told them that in their house is more than 200 demons and they advised them to move out. Family couldn't afford it. Instead of that, they built altar in basement and they was reading text from Bible there. In interview, mothers say that in first 3 days after they started reading text from Bible, things were good. There wasn't more unusual activities in house, but after 3 days things got even worse. Family said that demon possessed mother and 3 kids. Grandma said that she is protected and that's why she wasn't possessed. Now, let's see why is this case different than others. In April 2012, family goes to doctor. They try to find answers there. Weird thing is that all names of all social workers, doctors, people who gave statements are real and you can easily find it on internet. This is first case which doctor have ever seen. In his notes, doctor wrote illusions, misconceptions and hallucinations. There are statements of social workers for kid security, which are saying that by visit of these 2 doctors, 2 brothers act very aggressive, and younger kid without any contact of other people started to fly and was hit against the wall. This is their medical statement. After that, police and ambulance comes, and they didn't know what's going on. Social service investigate more. They say that maybe mother and family has some mental problems, and that kids are forced to do such things by her. They investigated house to see if kids are neglected, and the house was clean, tidy, and they are always having food. After comes to investigate mother, if she had any mental problems. In large, no one didn't know what's going on. There is original statement on the internet. When she started interview with mother of 7 years old son, he started to rumble and show his teeth, and he was rolling his eyes. After that, he attacked his brother and then grabbed his brother by the neck. They barely managed to separate them. Later that day, social worker comes to their house again on other interview. Now on interview was their grandma instead of their mother. 7 years old kid attacked his grandmother this time, and grandma grabbed his hands and she started praying and he would calm down. After this, beholders said that this could be only a paranormal activity. In that statement says that child had evil smile and he started walking backwards against the wall and continues on the ceiling and then jumped over his grandma and he landed on legs while he was holding grandma's hands all the time. The social worker and her fellow worker run out of fear. Then social institution takes these kids. This didn't help at all. They engaged priest to do an exorcism. He gave interview for newspapers in the Star. They investigated most of people which one was active in this case. They wanted to know the truth. Priest said that he was taking first step by saying this was a natural thing. 22nd April 2012. Priest comes to house. He interviewed family for 2 hours. He states that he was interrupted by flashing lights and weird noises in the bedroom. He stated that this entity was scared of him. He was convinced that the demons was haunting this house. Police was also thinking that this case is a fraud. Policeman which visited house states that he believed in ghosts but he didn't believe in demons. He says that when he took a picture of house, weird entities was passing through. He also said that his police radar was broken and his car seat was going forward and backwards and his garage doors was opening and closing by itself. Social service was keeping children. Child psychiatrist said that kid behaved like that when he didn't want to answer or when he was challenged. Kid was behaving normal except when you mentioned demons. It seems to be sad child instance which was introduced in illusions which was powered by his relatives. That was his psychological statement. He wanted to say that these kids behaved by mother beliefs. Skeptical people say that even the captain of police was believing in such things. Owner of house told that things like this was never been happening before. Some people think that they made this up so they don't need to pay for lease. After all these weird things are still happening. Police Department for Child Services continues visiting the house. Grandma, priest, 2 policemen, social worker, and police dog was in the house. The dog couldn't smell anything. They go in basement. Social worker saw strange liquid. Priest strawed salt in house and said that was barrier from evil. Policemen also found some strange liquid in kitchen. They couldn't find source of this. They wanted to be sure that someone in house didn't do this, so they wiped liquid which was like sticky, something like oil, and they were standing there for half an hour. After half an hour, oil appears again. Priest wants to do an exorcism and he do his first attempt in presence of 2 officers. They stated that they had very strange feelings and that they had feeling like someone is breathing on their necks. Priest done 3 successful exorcisms and that was last time he saw the family. Kids are going back home, family buys new house and they never reported such problems. There is a movie about this house. It's called Demon House. For some reason house is demolished. Do we need to be worried? Is there evil we don't talk about anymore?